What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the 5th studio album by Outkast. Basically, I'm not reviewing the actual double album, but within the pitch, I'm reviewing the only studio album up to this point, at least the only studio album with vocals by Andre 3000. Basically, this album is called The Love Below, and it came out in the late summer, or this came out in the fall of 2003. So within pitches like that, as far as this first going to happen, this was a huge deal when it came out in the fall of 2003. Pitches like that. This is an album that lasted well into 2004 as far as this pitch can happen. Particularly, it's the 2003-2004 season. Pitches like that had some excellent type of appeals. There were two number ones off this album, Hey Ya and Andre 3000's Hey Ya and Big Boy's Way You Move. As far as this pitch can happen, the discs were huge staples throughout the holiday, throughout the second half of 2003 and the first half of 2004, and that crested over further. Now, Big Boy did not get as many full-bound kind of hits off of his speaker box album as full-bound. He did have ghetto music, but that didn't catch on as well. But Andre 3000 managed to secure another top 10 single with Roses, which is pretty big, summer 2004 staple. And then they tried a little bit further. They did initially try to promote ghetto music again later with Prototype, but Prototype didn't catch on either. So it's just the pitch. This is typically seen as like an Outkast classic. This is a diamond-selling album. In certain senses, this is seen as one of the best-selling albums in rap music of all time, and it might actually be the top dog as far as this first album. It might have actually outsold like Tupac's All Eyes on Me, Eminem's The Eminem Show, and Marshall Mathers LP. So once I pitches MC Hammer from the 90s as far as this first album. So it's just within pitch as far as saying it's a huge deal, and I think a lot of that credit, not to have anything against Big Boy, because I do fuck with him quite a bit, consistently fuck with his music, gave his speaker box album pretty high score within the pitch, but this particular album has a lot of commercial aspects, and this is pretty multifaceted within the pitch. This is a staple. Basically, just to say, out of the 16 songs on The Love Below, recommended all 16, so this album gets a classic score within those pitches. Andre 3000 definitely had some potency, but the pitch behind it that's such a snafu about the situation is just the fact that most standard folks within the pitch behind it, at least when you talk about music critics and like the critical acclaim that goes along with that particular affair, there are tons and tons of folks that want further Andre 3000 material, but he never followed up this album. It's just the pitch. Now that I've owned this album for a number of whiles. I typically more often listen to speaker box. I at least listen to the singles off The Love Below, but it's just within the pitch as far as saying I did not give much of this album. I did not give much of The Love Below album much of an afterthought just because of the pitch, that it just never had any follow-ups. And it just was within the pitch as far as just wondering. I always was waiting to see if Andre 3000 was going to drop further music, and it just didn't come around. So just within the pitch as far as saying, I look within the aspect, just within the tone. Now, I will say this is some classic type of appeals within the pitch behind as far as paying attention. As far as paying attention, like the appeals, if you like the sort of Andre 3000 that was on like songs like The Whole World and like The Whole World and Miss Jackson, and that song like So Fresh and So Clean, some of those type pitches from like early 2000s kind of Outkast. Basically, this particular affair has most of that kind of hookiness that Andre 3000 conveyed in like the early 2000s on this album. It's just the pitch as far as saying that it doesn't have as many full-bound rap verses. I caught a couple times where Andre 3000 does rap on here, but it's just a very kind of it feels like something Prince would have done like in the 80s, some of those type pitches within the format where it just feels kind of scattershot, probably within the acclaim that he particularly had. Now, I don't think Andre 3000 was as full-bound, multifaceted to the extent that Prince was back in the Purple Rain days, some of those type pitches, but it was definitely enough hype and appeal where Andre 3000 had a number of 5-star albums and 5 mic albums from like The Source and places like that to the pitch where he did have a lot of acclaim around this time, and this is just kind of like a victory lap run as far as this first album. Definitely has the appeal, but surprisingly, despite the fact that this is one of the highest selling rap albums of all time, it is kind of shy on like full-bound kind of hits. When you think of albums that get to like the 6-7 singles, some of those type pitches, it's surprising that really most of the bankability off this album, I think most people probably bought this album just because they fell in love with Hey Ya, some of those type pitches, and to a certain extent kind of Way You Move, some of those type fairs, but in terms of other number ones, it doesn't really have it as full-bound. I think that's kind of the pitch of just me questioning whether or not, because, you know, the next album that came after this was Idlewild, and I look at the pitch, Andre 3000 did follow up The Love Below with another album. It was more of like a half album. It was the same sort of format as this particular album where Big Boy and Andre were on separate songs within some of those type pitches, but it's just kind of the format as far as saying that that particular album from 2006 did not have a hit. From what I remember, the single, like I forget the name of the song, Idlewild Blue Andre 3000 single off of that particular 2006 album did not catch on as full bounce. So it's kind of within the pitch. I mean, I recognize the heraldment that goes along with Andre 3000, some of those type of appeals, but seeing as to what particularly kind of happened, I do question. I mean, I think originally there was some sort of fear that possibly Andre 3000 was going to drop an album in 2000. I remember there was talks that he was going to drop another solo album like the late 2000s, early 2010s. This didn't happen. I mean, I think by this stage, the prime moments and the sweet spot that he had in this particular era, and I did like Idlewild as well. I gave that a pretty high type score, but just the pitch, I feel like the sweet spot of like the mid 2000s from Andre 3000 just doesn't feel as affable within the pitch. I just look in the pitch, not like it couldn't be done, but it's just the pitch as far as saying there's just the concept of striking while the kettle's hot. Some of those pitch just the form as far as saying that this particular crest of energy, the formats of getting songs like The Whole World and Hey Ya and some of those type pitches, Miss Jackson, some of those type forms, just feels like the opportunity has been kind of missed. But I look after it. It's not like this isn't a classic. It's just kind of the appeal within it. But I look after the tone. It's pretty, like, yeah, it just has some differential type styles. I mean, it's kind of an R&B type album, but it just carries a lot. It does have some alternative rock type dredge on here, like Prototype kind of does that. This has some good type pitches. If you think there's some sort of follow-up to Hey Ya, particularly folks that just find that song to be an anchor pitch, just like that, it doesn't really have like a full-bound kind of just direct sequel. Every song, pretty much within some degree of facet, is mostly different off this project. It is, in some degree, intent, kind of R&B flavored pitches like that, but it just kind of mixes multifaceted type stuff within the pitch volume. But I look after it. Yeah, simple enough to fuck this out. I recommend all 16 songs on here, so 10 out of 10 like I was saying. But yeah, there are 3 singles from Andre out this album, so that would be Hey Ya, Roses, and Prototype. So Hey Ya is basically like a rosy and springy kind of picnic for all to kind of get here. Easy kind of lunch hour gathering pitches like that. Just some coworker turn up for a few days as far as those pitch kind of happen. So just the pitch, real SFW kind of staple. This is just kind of one of those type ones. Thinking back to a music video of this particular song where Andre 3000 was kind of in green khakis and had like his perm and pitches like that. So this is kind of the format as far as saying this is like a particular kind of healthy rap, and this is not to say healthy in terms of like it being foul, but this is the pitch that this is pretty much this is just kind of a banner type rap song within a pitch that just has the format pretty much like probably one of the biggest songs out of the 2000s decade from rap music within those particular fairs. I mean, it is kind of more R&B flavored, more pop rap within the pitch behind it, but it's just kind of the pitch that the thing about this song is it's not so much the full bounce, say lightning in a bottle, but just the format of this saying when folks try to play this song, it's kind of the pitch that this particular energy of this song was just never really followed up again. It's just one of those type ones when you think of like a particular song that just it's kind of like Chris Tucker and Friday. You know, you want like another movie from Chris Tucker with Friday, but it just never happened. It's just some of those type pitches that it's the same sort of thing with Hey Ya. The same sort of thing with Hey Ya. As excellent as this particular song is, you kind of have to be down to earth with it as far as realizing there's just not a ton of sequels or songs within that particular format. Andre 3000, I mean, he probably could, I think within a certain format, not just the fact that he never put out an album past Idlewild, but also the pitch as far as saying that he probably could have dropped a song. I just don't know what it would have been like if we would have gotten a sequel to this particular song, if he would have been able to do it. It's kind of the pitch, I think, just the anchor. It's almost as if Andre's kind of pigeonholed with this particular song as far as what's first going to happen. I don't think he's subject to only having one song that's as good as this, but it's just kind of the pitch. It's just saying this is pretty much like his signature song. But I look after it. There are other ones. I mean, Prototype, I prefer Prototype to Hey Ya. That one's a real affable type one. Prototype's a real excellent type banger. There's some ones on here that have a lot more heat and fury than the particular song, but this is just one that's probably like when you think of Eminem always performing real Slim Shady, some of the stuff, it's just kind of one of those ones. But this was not really given the chance to get like a commercial follow-up to it, and I question if he would have been able to. It's not like I doubt him, it's just the pitch of just wondering. Roses was a follow-up single, pretty nice one. This is one of the most recent Outkast songs with them as a group. Big Boy is on this song as far as what's first going to happen. It's like a theater-like and commercial rap kind of breakout to kind of get here. Just a throwback kind of Outkast banger, I'd have to say. Just hella hooky out this particular fair, just like Andre 3000 on The Whole World. Some of those type pitches where he was just tearing through those hooks pitches like that. Just good staple as far as what's first going to happen. So just kind of within the pitch, a little bit of drama type fashion, like the melodrama about this particular song. This feels like typical kind of this debate type conduct, some of those type pitches within format, just the aspect of just getting towards some of those type tones is kind of not to say within full bound Broadway type step, but I mean, this has a different kind of turn of like This is a different kind of turn, a more starry kind of city hops within pitch that just is not within the format. I mean, it would have been interesting to have gotten further Outkast songs with some of these type pitches, just in the format of it. Just kind of has a good, like, the thing about Idlewild is just the fact that it kind of went back to like the 1920s, 1930s, kind of had a theme, but this is a good type pitch. It just seemed pretty much like one of the most recent Outkast songs within the vibe of what they probably could have done had things been more commercial, like The Whole World and some of those type ones, because that, The Whole World, some of those type songs are the second most recent. That's 2001, and this is 2004, so it's just good type pitch, but real excellent highlight on here that's surprising that this song didn't chart far better was Prototype. This is excellent type one. It's like a glazed kind of alternative rock dredge for like basic traffic. I'd have to say here, just good, nice one to smoke a nice joint, 2 pitches like that, just feeling real good. So just the pitch, kind of that evening embrace, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. orange skies pitch like that, but it's actually in a good time. Not so much like frustrator pitches like that. I mean, it might have some relative dredge, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as just kind of the embrace of it, just kind of the enjoyment of just like if you do have like a nice switch or something like that, just to kind of have like a couple chicken wings, some of those type pitches, cold Corona, some of those type aspects, just having the aspect of just really enjoying like the tone of this, the appreciating like just a good hot, this kind of hot summer evening balm as far as this pitch. I'm just within a typical product of just like relative same sort of evening after effect as far as this pitch comes. So just good type of feel. Real melodic on here. Andre 3000 really nails it. This is a good product. This is kind of pitch. I think this is kind of underappreciated type one. It would have been interesting to see in this particular song chart on the radio as far as those appeals kind of happens. This kind of pitch, I just think the 2 big songs, Hey Ya and Roses, kind of had their particular appeal about it. It's just kind of within the pitch as far as saying this is kind of one that was kind of a fastball in some of those type pitches to how many folks probably particularly caught it just within the tone as far as noticing the tone. But this is pretty much like the most recent Andre 3000 solo song apart from the stuff on Idlewild. So yeah, classic album here. Recommend every song just within the pitch. 10 out of 10. So just within the pitch, just gonna go down the list with some of these. So my favorite things is there's 5 skits on here out of the 21 songs, so that narrows it down to 16. So just within the pitch. So Love Haters, a nice one. It's like a nice 60s flavor. I had Love Haters, like a nice 60s flavor, kind of swing gem to kind of get within these aspects here. Just a ballroom and extravagant kind of after hours mingle, I'd have to say, within the pitch behind it. Just like 2001 Outkast within some of those type of feels. So just some of those kind of ballroom type ones within pitch. There were 3 new songs on the Outkast album from 2001, some of those type pitches. The Whole World was the single, but then there were 2 extra songs, one of which had Sleepy Brown, some of those type pitches within the format. Those particular 2 songs that kind of felt like more of just kind of lounge lizard type music within the aspects. This kind of the product. There are a couple ones on here, Love Hater, and then Vibrator, 2 type ones within pitch. When I said most of these are different, it's kind of the format. There is a little bit of just like particular, somewhat, there's like at least a good nice theme to some. For the most part, these are different, but this is a good product to pick up like some after effects, like some ballroom type noise. Just the aspect of maybe not more or less kind of tuxedo music, just a little bit more gracefulness, just kind of suave type fare within the pitch behind it. Just has that within a nice kind of R&B type flavor. Good type format. Happy Valentine's Day is a nice one. It's like a 70s disc. Happy Valentine's Day is like a 70s disco kind of work shift relief to kind of get here. Just something that would have been great for like 4:30, 5 p.m. pitches like that. Just more ripped out of 1974, some of those type ones. Just really has that particular kind of groovy type fashion about this one pitch. Just kind of some step out, feeling froggy, I'd have to say, with an aspect. Just need a martini, I'd have to say, some of those type pitches. Heading right to a bar, some of those type fares, just from the fashion behind it. Typical kind of traffic distant. It's like some typical kind of traffic just in a retro type sense. Just more within that more it's more within a 70s type fashion, just lit type one to be able to have for some of those type fares. So this is kind of like I was saying, there's not terrible much rap on here. I think you might catch like the occasion. I'm not going to designate which particular ones had the R&B or the rap verses from Andre 3000, but just within the pitch, as far as saying most of this kind of has the sing-songiness. So it's just the aspect of just getting something that you would expect from like Marvin Gaye, some of those type folks, but it's Andre 3000 doing that particular fare. There's not a ton of 70s songs on here, but it's just the throwback to some of that type fare. Just thinking of like a song where you just got done with things, 5 o'clock p.m. so type pitch is just more in that format, the type of appeal. Spread is a nice one. I like the appeal behind this song. It's a real nice apple type one. Spread, this is probably one of my more favorite ones on here. The whole album is excellent, but this is a real immediate type one. It's like a smarmy kind of commerce primer, I'd say, for some turn up, kind of an R&B flavor, I'd say, within the pitch. This could have been like a buzz single, I would have said, with an aspect of it, just a venue kind of rumbler. The hooks and melodies on Spread are real apple, and it's just within the pitch. I mean, Andre 3000 is pretty much like a grade A hook artist just within pitch. I mean, he's kind of underappreciated. I'm surprised that more folks didn't try to get a hook from him, try to get like some Miss Jackson and Whole World type vibes back in those early 2000s type days. He might have been difficult to get a hold of, but it's just within the pitch. Some of these type ones, like Spread, is a real standout, and some of those type pitches, just melodies real affable. Like I was saying, Prototype is obviously an underappreciated type one. Behold the Lady's pretty good, so it's just within pitches like that. A familiar type one to me, I've heard portions of this song. Probably a familiar type one to me. I've heard portions of this song from Lil Wayne as far as this pitch can happen, but it's Pink and Blue. It's like a familiar mixtape beat. I'd have to say here, just a housebound kind of smoke session. I'd say within some of those type pitches. Definitely hookah type music within those fairs. Probably would recommend ganja more so than tobaccos within the pitch, but this is in the format as far as saying dungeon vibes definitely within the pitch behind it, kind of in a rap wise sense. So just when you think of like dungeon music for like Metallica, some of those type pitches, just kind of format of getting some rap music that's just kind of more dungeon centric, some of that particular hangout type fashion where it is just going to be housebound pitches like that, just really getting to the turn up type sense. So it's just R&B type version of that particular fair, just real turn type one. Really having some product just like after moments, just in like as the day starts to die down and the liveliness starts to come about in the lights of it. She's Alive is a quality one. Now this is more workaday type fashion. When I talked about Happy Valentine's Day being like a 70s kind of disco type one and Work Shift Relief, She's Alive is more in like a traditional kind of up to 2004 type sense of it. It's like a bleary kind of workaday retired, had to say here, just basic kind of grocery rumination, some of those type pitches, just picking up some stuff from Walmart, Target, some of those type places, just kind of routine day kind of dredge that I'd say just extra thought within the pitch behind. So just kind of spare just an aspect, just kind of typical kind of commerce within some of those type fairs, just the product of it. Senior kind of day fair. My favorite things is a quality one. Now this one is just an instrumental. Would have been an interesting type pitch to wonder if there would have been vocals on there, something like that. But it's like a dope kind of butter smooth kind of instrumental kind of get. This has some 60s type flavor about it. I think this was like a Christmas song, also some of those type pitches, but it was also some sort of show theme song, just within pitches like that. It's like a typical kind of weekday blase, I'd have to say, with an aspect here, just kind of some newspaper. Sounds like some newspaper run kind of jangles as far as this pitch can happen. So just within the aspect of this, almost jazz rap within a sense, it's kind of after effect. It is something you'd catch like hotel kind of lobby pitches like that. Some of the stuff fairs are just getting along with like standard day product. Vibrate is a nice one. It's like a similar staccato, like kind of, it's like a similar staccato type feeling, kind of warp type feeling to like Miss Jackson, the way that particular song kicked off as far as this pitch kind of happened, just with the aspect of it. It's just kind of like whatever that's called, where you do like the cuts on like a vinyl disc or some of those type pitches. Just kind of feels drowsy, I'd have to say, with the scratching. Yeah, DJ scratching, some of those type pitches. This feels like some drowsy moments heading home after bar night as far as this pitch can happen. So this is like a good combo with Love Hater, but just a little bit later in the night as far as this pitch going to happen. Just more 2-3 a.m. some of those type fairs as far as figuring out, all right, being a little bit swashed, a little bit hungover pitches, being a little bit swashed, being a little bit bent within some of those type forms, figuring out the next move as far as those particular aspects would kind of go along with that. A real shrill type one would be A Life in the Day of Benjamin. A real shrill type one on here would be A Life in the Day of Benjamin Andre. It's an interesting type one with the aspect. Real like the tone of this. Pretty cohesive type one. It's like a Lyrian trill, kind of late shift weaving to kind of get here. Just good for snack run pitches like that. Just an R&B type sense. It's good. Grab some bugles and Bic lighters as far as those pitches we're going to have with the aspect of it. So just the aspect as far as saying is kind of the product of just kind of a 3 6 Mafia-esque type one. I mean, it has like the hauntedness, but it's kind of interesting getting Andre 3000 doing like a relative kind of within the department of horrorcore. Just the aspect of just something feel different kind of. I mean, minus like Dracula's Wedding and maybe like one other song on here, kind of within a certain sense my favorite. Minus like maybe Dracula's Wedding and maybe like She Lives in My Lap, some of those type pitches. Just a good type format to get some of these type ones in terms of like something that could have been like a mild kind of gothic venture as far as this pitch kind of would have been excellent type fair. But Andre 3000 is typically a lot more vanilla and just kind of sprightly with the aspects. So it's interesting type pitch, but it has some good type appeals behind it. Usually he's a lot more smarmy, but I like the appeal behind that song. Probably one of my more favorite songs off this album, speaking of that particular song within the pitch, is Dracula's Wedding. It's like an aghast kind of evening traffic to kind of get here. Definitely just some Dracula music, like the song says, like an R&B type sense. Feeling crisp, I would definitely say here, just good for like a goodie run, some of those type fairs. So just picking up, obviously like some Taco Bell goodies, pitches like that, some of those type fairs, getting frozen burritos and good Chex Mix type runs, some of those type aspects, Bugles, Hostess cakes, some of those type pitches within the form, just typical kind of just jaunts with an aspect, just after hours type moments, just within the pitch behind it. I mean, this has real kind of, this is an interesting aspect. This is a good example of what probably I would have questioned Andre 3000, what he would have done with like a 2008 album or something like that within those pitches. Just wondering how that particular conduct would have gone along with it. It just would have been an interesting type pitch to seeing some of those type fairs. Just, I mean, there's actually a number of songs I would have liked to have gotten a sequel to, just wondering some of the fairs that could have happened within those particular aspects. I mean, obviously you can say Hey Oz a good night. Is a good nice one to wonder if that could have been followed up. Dracula's Wedding would have been a good choice. I think Prototype would have been a real excellent choice. I think Idlewild Blue was at least a close type one that tried to follow up Prototype, but some of those type pitches would have been good. Behold the Lady would have been a nice one to see if there could have been a sequel or something within that same format. And I'd probably say Probably like just another type 1, probably like spread, something like that within that relative kind of foot tap type jump out. So some of those type 1s, I mean, it's not as full bound like every direct one would need like an actual sequel just to copy it, but just some pitch is just something within that same vein, just to kind of have like something further. Look within the pitch. So a good combo, I get a good nice one is like a follow-up to Prototype would be Take Off Your Cool. And there are some guests on here within a sense, like Khalees is on Dracula's Wedding, good type pitch. Nora Jones is on Take Off Your Cool, which I'm getting ready to talk about, but for the most part, Big Boy's on Roses, but for the most part, this is pretty almost solo within the aspect, but Take Off Your Cool is like a good combo with Prototype, like I was saying, just kind of a dredgy, smoke a joint just within pitches like that. It's kind of the same after effect of it, just kind of a romantic bleed within some of those type fares of it, and it's like a good simp cut as far as those fares are going to have. Just the after effect, just further type noise within the product. It actually is good to get some follow-up. It actually is good to get some follow-up type moments to like particular themes off the sound within some of those type formats, between like the 60s type vibes within a kind of ballroom type sense, and then some of these dredge type ones in the aspect. Just kind of just 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock p.m. type dredge within the after effect of this sunset gates and some of those type fares within the pitch. Just kind of more work shift relief within that kind of just relief of it as far as those fares are going to happen. She Lives in My Lap with Rosario Dawson is a nice one. It's like a hollow kind of late shift afterthought, I had to say here. Just grab a few to be a good nice one to grab a few supplies pitches like that. It's like a local kind of typical Outkast as far as those fairs were going to happen. So this just brings back She Lives in My Lap, just brings back vibes to like Stankonia pitches like that. Some of those particular type backyard type enjoyments, or at least the aspect of just having more neighborhood type noise, just kind of more amidst like the kind of just around the house type pitch. By around the house I mean not so much indoors, it would mean more local centric type things within pitch, just whether just having a smoke break just outdoor on the porch, some of those type moments, just the aspect of this kind of familiar type fares within the pitch. It's just more kind of 8 o'clock p.m. type dredge, some of those type aspects within the pitch behind it. There's not a ton of, I mean, within certain senses, this doesn't feel as full bound like an Outkast album, but the themes of like the particular aesthetic of Outkast is kind of minorly on here. It's kind of the same thing with the Big Boy type product. You do catch some of these type moments, like within some of those, there's fares that kind of remind of like some of the moments from the 2001 album. There's also some traces of like Stankonia on here as well within some of those type formats, like Elise, Behold the Lady, and like Vibrate, Behold the Lady, and like She Lives in My Lap have some of those type formats of like Stankonia within a pitch, just within some of those type formats of like that particular kind of more housebound kind of sludge pitches like that Red Cup type music. And then there's some ones that remind of like the 2001 album, like Love Hater and like Vibrate, some of those type pitches also within the format. So but look within the pitch. So Behold the Lady is one of the standout songs on here in terms of the immediate touch sense. Like I was saying, it's like a basic kind of evening jump and kickstarter. I had to say here, just a groovy kind of Miss Jackson vibes about this particular one. Just a lot of bounce about this. Just kind of some slick late enjoyment as far as this fair is going to happen. This is like a good kind of kickoff within the format, just getting crunk a little bit, just a particular fair. For the most part, Andre 3000 is pretty sedate within the conduct. I mean, he does have the spice one and get turned up, but it's not as much of a full bound appetite. It's more within like a chillax type fashion, more so than the actual aspect of like the socialize in terms of like bust and move, some of those type moments of having like some kind of hella drinks and being kind of within a, I mean, it has chatty within a sense, but it's just kind of more on the porch kind of smoke break kind of chats, more so than the full bound kind of amidst like couch and just indoor kind of living room type noise within some type formats amidst more of the company of it. So it's just kind of pitch. Stankonia from the year 2000 was not within the pitch, but it just kind of has more here and there type moments within the aspect of like how socializing kind of has like the jive about it. I mean, this is enough of a jive type project, but just kind of the moments I would probably say that have the more designatedness to like a particular kind of shindig of some sort within like the Stankonia type vibes would be like Pink and Blue, Behold the Lady, probably Spread, She Lives in My Lap, some of those type ones. Vibrate would be a nice one than some of those type pitches. Roses within a healthier sense. The singles are definitely healthier, but there are some ones that do have like some of that kind of Stankonia type sludge on here within some of those type aspects. So it's good fare for that for the fair for some of those aspects. So it's good conduct as far as those pitches kind of happen with it. So I like the tone of it. But look after here, I'm trying to think of other songs I haven't talked about within some of those pitches. I don't think I've talked about Love and War either. It's like a relative kind of glowy relief and R&B flip mode. Love and War is like a relative kind of glowy relief and R&B flip mode focus. Kind of get here just a 2000s kind of soul bleed. I'd have to say within aspects of it, just kind of a streaming delight. So this one pitch just a little bit more balmy and peppy within the aspect behind it, but it just kind of works as like a Spotify type song probably a decade before that particular fair kind of kicked off within the aspect. It's kind of a good R&B kind of just kick off for if you like Spotify streaming type moments to just kind of let the speakers crank with some of those type tunes within format and R&B type sense, but you want more songs ripped out of like the early 2000s within fashions, having some of those type ones that would kind of be that fair. If you have plenty of Drake, plenty of The Weeknd, plenty of Trey songs, some of those type folks within formats, it's a good type pitch to throw a few Andre 3000 type bleeders within here as far as those aspects kind of have. So just good type tone, good nice one for some of those type pitches behind it. It's kind of more just it's kind of more chillax type fashion with an aspect behind it. So I think I covered every song on here within the pitch as far as this pitch can have. Just the aspect as far as talking about a lot of these within the pitch behind it. Just yeah, I'd say pretty much I think. So 10 out of 10 score. The social score I'll go ahead and give a 10 out of 10 as well, because I realized that Hey Ya does have over 1 billion plays on Spotify. Roses is pretty popular as well. Prototype has that sort of appeal, even though it's underrated within pitches like that. It has the moments on here. Like I was saying, it does have some Stankonia type moments for like the after effect of like house party type sludge and pitches like that. Some of those type formats is that typical format, just more sing-songy within the pitch behind it. It's just very necessary within the pitch as far as the delivery as to how it particularly kind of happens. Just something, I have a lack of trying to think of the particular type word, but just kind of essential within the format, just something that kind of feels like something that was just necessary within the pitch to get some of these type formats. So just like a sequel to Miss Jackson, but just in the format of just more commercial type appeal within some of those type aspects of just focusing more on like the Miss Jackson type hooks and whole world type hooks and the Miss Jackson type hooks and whole world type hooks and so fresh and so clean type hooks that just had Outkast at their stardom. It's kind of within the pitch. Now I would say some of the stylish swag that Big Boy particularly kind of has, it would have been an excellent type pitch to have gotten Big Boy on more moments on here just to have for some of these particular type moments, but it's just kind of haphazard within the question of whether or not this is the sort of direction that probably should have had Andre 3000 have more of these, or within the pitch of just. So this feels like such a one-shot, and that's one of the biggest kind of caveats about this album in terms of a negative sense, just as far as saying it's excellent on here, but it's pretty much stuck in 2004 because there just wasn't a follow-up, and the 2006 one was more ripped, it was more in like the 1920s and 1930s, so it's just the pitch as far as saying, has some dredge-type moments on here, have some haunting moments on here like Dracula's Wedding and A Life in the Day of Benjamin Andre, some of those type pitches, has some house party sludge, has some good makeshift within a format, pitches like that R&B makeshift, some of that particular evening type dredge, some moments like that on here, just the pitch of just like the after effects kind of it, just kind of in between type fashions, just either day shift has some 70s type moments, 60s type moments, so just a pitch between like kind of day shift moments that actually do have, even though I feel like they're has some good day shift type moments. The singles are real makeshift related as well within the format. So it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying you get a pretty compacted type album within the aspect of just something banner within a particular tone about it. But somehow it's just, once again, I think it's surprising that there just was not more kind of casual staples off this album in terms of pitch behind it. I think considering that this album went diamond is definitely kind of appeal, but it's just the aspect that Hey Ya is probably the biggest song, the most noteworthy one within the pitch. It's not like this album doesn't have other moments, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as saying that it just, I think because of Andre 3000's kind of just whelming kind of popularity is just within the pitch as far as saying, I think because the pitch of Andre 3000's kind of whelming popularity that most of this album has like a relative kind of casual aspect about it, but it's just kind of the pitch as far as just the two things to me, just saying that there wasn't a follow-up and then just pitches like that this is kind of more personal choice and just own kind of word-of-mouth type reasoning within the pitch as far as which ones are going to be popular. But I just look within it. There definitely are some social modes on here, definitely glad for that. It's not a square type album. It's not really kind of, it's not isolated, it's full bound. It's off to the wayside, but it is social within aspects. So it's just good touch on. So I look after it. So 10 social. In terms of the future, like that's kind of the product. That's the $1 million question within those formats for most folks. I'd say within pitch of this question, if Andre 3000 is ever going to follow this album. Now he has done flute albums and instrumental albums, pitches like that. But in terms of like an actual vocal album like this one, a true sequel to this, I don't know the likelihood of it. It's kind of within pitches like that. But this is a classic within the aspect of it. Just so I'd say if we do get another one, I question if it would be as good as this one. I kind of look within the pitch. There's some moments like I do feel like it was tried to be follow up with Idlewild, but it's just been pitched for us, and just wondering if that's past the sweet spot. But I look after here, this is a pretty banner type staple, kind of a surprise. Kind of a surprise and eclectic hit, and it definitely does. Kind of a surprise and eclectic hit, and it definitely does damage.